How's it going, guys? Going off grid, and today we're just making a little video of my DIY solar generator. And this solar generator actually doesn't even have the MPPT charge controller yet, or any way to charge it other than a wall outlet. So this eventually will be a solar generator, but right now it's just a power pack essentially. Versus RockSolar's. And I say RockSolar's because their website is RockSolar's with an S on the end, probably because RockSolar was taken. And I'm going to compare my DIY version to RockSolar's. This is their biggest model, which is not big. It's only 11 pounds. It's very, very, very light. This has got a 400 watt inverter, 600 watt surge. It can do 600 watts for a decent amount of time. Same at 500 watts, it can run for a long time. Versus my system, this is a low frequency inverter, 300 watts. It can surge above 600 watts for starting loads, but only for a couple seconds. Anything above 300 watts for more than about 5 to 10 seconds, it will shut down. So for full-time running, this will outdo this, but for starting surge loads, this probably will outdo this one. We'll find out in testing. I believe this has more battery capacity because this is a 40 amp hour battery, 444 watt hours. I believe this is around 500 watt hours to 550 watt hours. This one's chargers right here. Let's see, what is the charger? This one comes with a 90 watt charger. That's actually pretty good. So this should charge in about 4.5 hours. This one has 200 watt chargers. Now these 100 watt chargers taper off as the voltage gets higher. So up to 80%, this will charge in about 2 hours to about 80%. The last 20% takes forever. Takes so long. So 80% charge in 2 hours, which is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So if you're charging it from a generator for bulk charging, 80% 2 hours. The last 20% takes about another 2-3 hours just for the last 20%. So yeah, this thing charges about the same all the way to full because the input power to this is 15 volts, and this has, I don't know if this has an MPPT in it. I don't think it does, but however it works inside, it doesn't just drop the voltage of the input power to the battery voltage. It doesn't do that. It'll let, if this is 15 volts coming in, it lets it stay at 15 volts and just takes the maximum it needs at about 90 watts or 100 watts or whatever it is. Where this system, both these chargers go straight down to battery voltage. That's why they taper off as they get higher. As the battery voltage climbs, the amps and the watts lower. So yeah, so to 100% charge, these are very close. They charge 4-5 hours, something like that, to 100%. Let's see. What we're going to do is a capacity test with a kilowatt meter. So this is going to be going through the inverters. So this will show the efficiency of the inverters. We're going to see how long it runs this 250 watt halogen bulb. Pretty sure this one's going to win this, but I'm not sure. This one could take it. Got to remember, let's unplug this for 2 seconds. Look at the size difference. This is more of a square, but this is way smaller. So the RockSolar definitely wins in size. This is also not 11 pounds. This is more like close to 30 pounds. So there's that as well. Now I don't know what's more waterproof. This one actually might be, but this one is fairly waterproof. But anyways, let's get testing. Let's hook this thing up and see where we're going. We're starting from this meter's a little off. So 12.5 volts. When I check it with my multimeter, it's actually 12.6 volts. I have it plugged in. It is fully charged. I'm going to unplug that, shut this off because we don't need to be able to see this. That just takes more power. The inverter is already on, as you can see with the light. That's why I have it plugged in. I don't want it to take any power from the actual battery. And we are going to count the kilowatt hours. This has a little battery backup, the little 18650 on the side. So even when this shuts off, I'll be able to see the capacity. Okay, just plugged in the light. 250 watts. We're at 0 still. Let's go to watts just to show you guys what it's pulling off each inverter. 2.15 amps. That's max amps. This meter. There we go. 230 watts. Okay. Kilowatt hour is still nothing. This is saying only 107 volts. That's pretty low. This inverter's really drooped because we are pushing almost, so this is a 300 watt inverter, we're pushing 230 watts, so it's drooped a little bit. There's kilowatt hour. So that's what we care about. It doesn't really matter that it's 107 volts. It's still going to run your appliances. You can't nitpick that much with these units. So anything over 105 volts, I'd say, is absolutely acceptable for 110 or 120 volt systems. Ooh, better unplug this. There. So that is unplugged. It might get a little tiny bit extra, but not much. Under load, what's the battery saying? 11.7, 11.8 under load. But that is testing right at the back of the inverter. There's some losses in the lines. Hasn't gone up at all yet. I'm going to plug this back in because this thing was still accepting a charge. So definitely want to keep it plugged in until it's absolutely fully charged. And how we haven't got anything on here yet. Anyways, run this right till it dies, and then we're going to do the same thing on this. See who wins. Obviously, I already told you, this is 11 pounds, this is about 30 pounds. Yeah, so you guys can be the judges on who wins this match, my DIY version or the RockSolar, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have been testing for a few minutes now, about, what is that, 21 minutes we've been doing this for. This battery is now saying it's completely full. This one is down a bit, 11.2, 11.3 volts. We'll see what time or what voltage this inverter cuts out at. The fans are on the inverter, which is helping to heat the case because it's fairly cool in here. And this one's getting a little bit of heat from this light, not much. It's not really warm, but it's better than freezing anyways. So this one's self-heating, so this is actually kind of nice for in the winter time. It will help heat itself, and when the batteries are warmer, they put out more power. So anyways, we've done 80 watt hours. So hopefully this makes it would be nice if the inverter output of this can make it to at least 350 watt hours or 400 watt hours. But we'll see. And then we'll test this one next. Okay, we are at the end of the test. Battery recovered voltage 11.3. Oh boy, we only got 290 watt hours. This is now, remember, this is a heavy load. This is a small solar generator. 230 watts is actually a decent amount for these little things. So now we're going to try cycling this inverter, because this inverter shut off, and then the battery recovered a bit. So my switch is in this little secret location here. There we go. We're back on. Now, let's see here. 10.6 volts. See if we can make it to 300 watt hours. Oh, look at that. We made it. 300 watt hours. Okay, we can stop it there. Recovered voltage. So you got to also remember there's sag in the lines from the batteries. I'm using 8 gauge wire for 30 amp load to this inverter. That's perfectly fine. If I doubled it up, we might have sneaked maybe 310 watt hours out of this, but not a lot more. It's just the way it is. So this inverter is not ideal for this chemistry, not in 3S. 4S might be a little bit better. But anyways, let's try this on the RockSolar. We're going to unplug it. We're going to shut this off. And let's plug this thing in. One more thing I want to mention, the charge capability. So how much power is this taking from AC? Well, that is right here. 226 watts. That's going to drop as the voltage on the battery pack goes up. 225 watts as we are charging. So this is charging fairly quickly. Look, 11.5, 11.6 volts. So we're jamming power in almost as fast as we just took it out with this light. So that's pretty cool that it's got that feature. And let's plug the RockSolar in. Okay, now that the DIY pack is charging, we got the RockSolar plugged in. We're ready to go. I reset the kilowatt meter. This is at the volts right now. Let's go to kilowatt hours. There's kilowatt hours zeroed out. Let's turn it on. And there we are. Light is on. Now let's check the voltage and all that stuff, just like we did in the other one. 110 volts. So we're 3 volts higher than on the DIY pack because we had a sag in the voltage because this inverter was having a little bit of a hard time, I think. Oh, here we go. Come on. Just want to see the wattage. Watts. Okay, so we're taking a little bit more watts. 240 watts, 239. My DIY pack was 230 watts because the voltage was lower, and that's what happens with the resistive loads. Higher the voltage, the more the watts you're taking. So this should actually discharge faster because of it, because it's outputting a little bit more power. Not much, just a tiny bit, like not enough for me to care about it. Like I would run an expensive TV off this one or this one. They put up very nice clean sine waves. That one's just a little bit low in voltage, just a tiny bit. This one's 110. Well, in this country everything's about 120 volts, so that's still low, but it doesn't matter because everything we use and run can run about from 95 volts all the way to about 130 volts. So 110 it's pretty much right bang in the middle. 107 is a little bit low, but it's not much. Anyways, let's run this, see how far she goes. Okay, so we are down to 2 bars, and we have pushed 160 watt hours out of the inverter. So there may be still some hope for the DIY system. We got 300 watt hours. I did have to cycle the inverter though, but I still got it. We'll see. Most of the time I don't know about this one, I found that the bottom 2 lights last the longest, or the bottom end of the battery lasts the longest, because these are usually based on voltage. So we'll see what happens. We definitely could make 300 watt hours. I don't know. Hard to say, because this is right around the middle point. We'll see. I can hear the fans turning on and off in this unit, so the inverter is getting a little warm. The fans turned on in this one quite often too. So there you have it. Let's see what the voltage is actually at a lower voltage. I never checked this on my unit itself. Let's see here. Where's volts? Wowee, it's holding 110 solid. That's where mine did not. Okay, that's pretty cool. Anyways, I'll come back to you when this thing is dead. Right, so it went dead. Let's see here. It is dead. Very dead. Wow, we made it to 380 watt hours. That is actually really good for a 444 watt hour battery. It is warm. Will it turn back on? Oh, and even turned back on. I gotta give it another chance, just like the DIY version. This one I made it to 300 watt hours out the AC point of the inverter. This one's at 3.8, 380 watt hours. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pause this until it turns back off, and I'll let you know what we make it to. Okay, so I turned back on for a little while. Shortly after I stopped the video, it stopped. We didn't make it any more than 380 watt hours. It could be like 85, 86, 87. It could be 389 watt hours, but this doesn't show that decimal point. So, okay, I would say for the most part that the pre-built unit actually beats my DIY unit, unfortunately. But it's okay. I'm not done yet. There's still more I can do. I have a ton more of these batteries now, so as you can see there, all those purple things there, they're the same cells as these. The only problem is I actually can't fit more cells in here, but I can always do a slightly different build, slightly different shape that would fit more in here. Like this is a very narrow, tall build. So it's not a total defeat. And this one I did myself. This one charges faster. That's one thing. This one charges about, I would say, at least a third faster, if not twice as fast as the RockSolar. Now the RockSolar, I believe the charging input that it comes with, the AC one, that's as fast as it can charge, about 90 watts, 90 to 100 watts, because I also have a 100 watt panel to go with this. So I believe that's as fast as it can charge. And this one here, I can charge at 30 amps. So that's pretty substantial. Like I should be able to charge this battery bank with solar, because that solar I'll have more than the AC input. That'll be more like a 2-hour charge, which is pretty good. That's impressive. I might not be able to run as much, so there's give and take between the two. But yeah, and one thing I do not have, I was just looking at the back of this, I do not have a cigarette lighter yet, but I will have one soon. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is my quick comparison of a DIY unit versus a pre-built unit, especially one that's on sale. If it's on sale, it's actually very comparable to a DIY in price point. If you're paying full price, it's totally different, but you cannot overlook the great experience that you'll have building your own and the knowledge you will gain. So I'll leave it at that. So after I fully charged the batteries, this one is my DIY, and that was 580 watt hours to charge, and the other one, the RockSolar's, was 661 watt hours to charge. So that just shows you there that that's pretty much the difference in capacity. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this comparison.